I get a lot of questions about computer science and about software development, but probably the one that I've heard the most is, do you need to know math? It's a question that my parents asked me a ton whenever I was getting into computer science. They're like, oh, the math has got to be really hard for that. And I think it comes from a misconception that all computer science is the same and it all kind of revolves around the same thing. We are going to talk a little bit about kind of like the pros and cons of knowing math, but if you're just looking for a short answer, it's no. Most coding, I would say, has very little to do with what you would actually call math, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, calculus, geometry, trigonometry, all of those different things. Really, you don't have to deal with those very often in most coding. If you're doing web application development, there's fairly little math involved, and most of the math that you do is either done by computer or it's fairly easy. Like we're talking like fingers math or calculator math even. So if you're looking for the short answer, if you really want to get into computer science, but math is kind of the thing that's holding you back from doing it, just go do it. Just there are a couple of fields that you might have some difficulty getting into or at least excelling at without having a really good math background. Before we get into those though, let's talk about kind of the not math that helps out with computer science. Computer science or software development in general, I guess, it's all about problem solving and it's about finding, I guess, unique ways to solve each individual problem, break it up into sub problems, and basically think about things kind of algorithmically. And it doesn't involve specifically math, but it does involve logic. And a lot of people who are weak at math are weak at math because they're weak at logic, or they're weak at logic because they're weak at math. They're kind of interchangeable, but logic is a very, very important part of computer science. Understanding how to break things down logically and understand the smaller parts and things that go into them. That is an incredibly important part of computer science. And it's a reason why a lot of people who are good at computer science are also good at math and vice versa. That being said, do you need to know advanced calculus in order to be a good web applications programmer? No. But if you really want to excel at web applications programming or at systems design or at things like that, it helps to at least know logic well. Now, does it help to know math well? Absolutely. Because oftentimes knowing math well kind of translates into knowing logic very well. So you have that logical side of your brain, the muscles and, quote unquote muscles, and the logical side of your brain are well kind of exercised. And that's one of the ways that math really can help out in computer science. There are a couple of fields that are explicitly heavily tied to math. Some of the bigger ones are all of the data science disciplines. Essentially anything that deals with a lot of like statistical analysis of data, obviously that's going to be very math heavy. If we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, things like that, you're dealing with a lot of stats, a lot of calculus in that, even a lot of very strange type of like discrete maths and things like that. That is one of the reasons why I am actually going back and teaching myself math. I was horrible at math in college. It was from calculus to discrete math. I was just terrible at all of it. And I never really got good. Basically, as soon as I was able to pass the classes with a very low C, I just left math alone. I can't say that I'm regretting that because of my career, because I don't need it that much for my actual day job. But there are a couple of things that I would be interested in getting into, like statistics, economics, visualization and game design, things like that would be really, really cool for me to be able to do just kind of for different projects. And I find myself basically running up against the wall of mathematics every time I try to get into those things. So if you're not good at math and you don't want to get good at math, you're not interested in it, basically just throw out a fair bit of data science in pretty much all of artificial intelligence and machine learning past the very, very basics. You can kind of throw out a whole lot of hardware stuff because there's a fair bit of math in there. Cryptography is literally just math. There's no way that you can really do cryptography without math. But all of those are kind of niche fields. If you just want to be a web app programmer, or if you want to be an iOS application designer or anything like that, hell, you could even go into cybersecurity without any math at all. That's where I'm at, and I'm terrible at math. But like I said, the caveat being, even in those fields that you don't explicitly need math, you probably should be at least comfortable with logic and be, somebody with a kind of sound logical mind, basically, which is something that math helps. And that's another reason why I'm trying to teach myself math. So I hope this helped out. I really don't think there are many fields in computer science or computer science adjacent areas that math should completely scare you away from, because either you can essentially not have any skills in math and be perfectly fine, like in most web app development, things like that, or you can teach yourself math. I mean, Khan Academy's free. There's tons of free resources online where you can learn math. A lot of the textbooks you can find for free online if you know how you're looking. So, really the kind of sky's the limit here. You can self-teach yourself any of this stuff. You don't have to have a college degree. That's silly. But that's its own video. We'll talk about college degrees at some point later. That's probably an hour-long video there. Point being, don't worry about math. You will be okay. I hope this video helped in some kind of way. If it did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. Take it easy. Peace.